You guys deserve a huge update. So as you might be able to tell, we are in a new apartment. So it finally happened. I've been talking about it for like 4 or 5 months probably, of us moving and there being a new Reef Corner. And it's a bit bigger of a corner than I was hoping for. I wanted to try to consolidate the tanks within the stands and just make it more cohesive, I guess. But I still think it looks good. We're gonna run through the tanks today, give you guys kind of a breakdown of what the setups are, as well as the plans for them. First thing you guys might notice is the 38 gallon is not here. So we're going to talk about that as well, but we're about 99% moved in. We got the keys a week ago. So we've had, I guess, 2 weekends now to move everything. The final steps is pretty much just to clean our old apartment, and I do need to sell the 38 gallon, which again, I'll give you guys more of an update later. And then I need to move that dresser that the 38 gallon was sitting on. So that's gonna go in my closet, just gonna use it for clothes. But these are the tanks, and I'm super excited. I don't even really know where to start. So let's just jump into it. Jumping right into it, let's just give you guys a quick run around of what the room looks like, I guess. I don't really want to show you the other side because it's dirty, but you can kind of see it through my mirror. We got a mirror here just for looking at ourselves, but the first tank is the 30 gallon Innovative Marine, and that's sitting on the Imagitarium 40 gallon breeder stand, so it sits quite nice on that stand. Moving over to the left, we've got the Reef Casa 6 gallon Pico. We finally have this tank set up. Actually, we have both tanks finally set up because the 30 gallon people were complaining about being dry and not wet, but we finally have both of these tanks set up. This is on a Walmart stand. So if you're in the US, I don't know if you can get Walmart products in Canada, but if you're in the US, you can order this stand off Walmart. I got it in store, but it's 18 by 18, so it fits the 16 by 15 platform of the tank perfectly. And it's pretty sturdy, it's black, so it kind of matches the stands. And I think it looks good. It's a good height, it's easy to work on the tank. And moving over to the left, finally, we've got the 20 gallon Innovative Marine on the Imagitarium stand as well. I'm probably most happy with how this tank turned out, strictly because of the aquascape. I went and picked up this new rock here, which is kind of already an arch. And then I had this rock with the GSP on it. And I decided to do 2 little arches. When I first bought this tank, that's kind of how the tank was set up, except the arches were coming off of the back. But I like the simple scape of it. This is going to be clownfish with softies and nems. We'll jump into the plans here in a little bit, but this is gonna be a really sweet tank. This thing is doing probably the best too out of all 3 in terms of like popping back and making sure they're okay. I just saw this mushroom. I don't know if I'll be able to focus on it. Not really, but that thing is huge. I've never seen that. That's always been on the back side of this rock when it was in the 38 gallon. And that's probably one of the biggest mushrooms I've ever had. That thing is huge. It's probably like 3 inches across, which I guess might not be that big, but that thing is huge, in my opinion. Anyways, this is the 20 gallon Innovative Marine. Really excited for this build, but let's go ahead and kind of just run through the equipment on them so you guys know what we're working with. So all in all, the tanks are really simple. They all have similar equipment in terms of what I'm running. So we've got lights, of course, over all of them. We've got the new Sight K7 Pro 3s over the 30 gallon as well as over the 20 gallon over there. And then we also have the new Sight K7 Mini over the Reef Casa. It did come with a Aquanite, and I just didn't have enough time to play around with the settings, to be completely honest, but we will maybe give it a go in the future. It's just nice having the app with the new Sight because I'm able to get similar spectrums with the other tanks. But we've got the new site K7 Mini over that, and then the same Home Depot plant grow light over the mangroves. It's on this rusty pole here, so I do have that black rod down there. That's going to replace that pole right there. So it should look like one unit, you know, black on black, and then at least it's not rusty. But that's kind of the mounting for that light, and that sits on that stand. And we're able to raise it as high as we need for these mangroves. They're growing pretty quick, but we could probably get like another 2 feet off of this setup with a light. Now, other basic equipment for this tank, we've got a cobalt heater in the back that we took from the 38-gallon Peninsula. We also have an adjustable return pump, which this is a mess back here, but there's the controller. It's the Jabao. That's really it for equipment. We've got good flow coming off of the return pumps there. We do have the gyre pump from the 38-gallon that we could put on this tank if we need more flow, which we might do. Moving over to the 6-gallon, we also have a cobalt heater in the back. It's a 50 watt, but it's perfect for this little size tank. And then it's got the return pump in the back that was the upgraded one that comes with the Reef Casa, or you can order it off their website, but it is an upgrade. In that, I've had to turn down the flow, and I added the oscillator as well, and it's still got some really good flow in this tank. Got some corals in this guy, and then my little Gorgonia in the back there, and then of course the mangroves. We've got a nice sand bed if we can kind of get an angle. There's about 4.5 inches in that very back corner, and it should be enough for these guys to grow out. And lastly, of course, for the 20-gallon, again, we've got the new Psych up top, which has got some great coverage for this tank. We have a innovative marine pump, which came off of the 38-gallon, so it's got the tried and true pump that actually came with the tank. And we do have a 50 watt fluval heater in the back. We may upgrade that to cobalt, but heating is not too much of an issue in Southern California. It's more cooling, so I don't think we have to worry too much about that. Now that we've talked about what we got going on in the tanks, let's talk about the plans for them. And I believe in a couple videos ago, if not the last video, I said that I wanted to streamline the tanks so that I am able to kind of swap corals around and put them in different tanks. I do want to have a base of softies in all of the aquariums, so each tank is going to have some sort of softie in it. But for the 30-gallon long, what we want to do is make this a mixed reef. As you can see, we do have a couple pieces of our LPS in there which aren't doing the best right now, but everything is adjusting. As you can see too, we do have, I think, some diatoms growing on the sand bed there, but we'll do a water change here and get this thing dialed in. But the plans for this is to make it a mixed reef and add a few fish in here. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. But I do want to do a few chromis and a couple of gobies and maybe a couple of cardinal fish, but we'll see kind of what we plan on doing here in the next few weeks. And we also want to add, of course, some more LPS. So we're going to do some euphyllias in here, hopefully a couple of Gonioporas. And yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for what we should add to this tank, let me know. Now for the 6-gallon Pico, this is kind of it, at least for what I'm planning on doing right now. We've got these two little random frags in here, which I kind of just like how they look right there. I don't really know if I'm going to keep them, but we got those guys as well as the Gorgonia in the back, which I like. And then of course the mangroves in the back right corner. So those are the main things that we got going on in this tank. We are going to add a little cleanup crew in here. I was planning on doing a couple of cleaner shrimps, but without having a lid, I'm kind of scared to add anything. But the main focus for this tank was the mangroves anyways, and I think it looks good how it is. Lastly, the plans for the 20-gallon innovative marine. I kind of briefly touched on this at the beginning of the video, but we are going to be doing a pair of clownfish in here with anemones and all of these softies. So everything you've seen here is pretty much staying where it is, and we're going to let the anemones kind of walk around and find their place, and then we can move the corals from there. But we do want to do a pair of clowns in here with a nice cleanup crew and kind of just let the clownfish have this tank to themselves. So those will be the only fish in this aquarium. We're of course going to do a cleanup crew for the 30 gallon as well, so we'll probably add about 15 snails in there to start, about 7 or 8 in the 6 gallon, and then we'll add another 10 probably in the 20 gallon. To wrap up the video, I think it's important that we go over what happened with the 38 gallon because I know a lot of you guys are here or on my Instagram for that tank. And it was a really hard decision whether to set it up or not. And it took me probably 2 months to really like go through it in my head and physically like write out what I want the setups to be and look like and the themes for them. And the 38 gallon just didn't fit anywhere in the plans, to be honest. I did really try to keep it, and I was even going to rearrange my room. So I apologize for anyone that, did like that tank. I loved it. I thought it looked really cool. I definitely think it could have used some improvements. And the way I wanted to set it up again was to use it as a true peninsula. And I wasn't able to do that with any sort of configuration in this room. Now, with that being said, I still do have the tank. It's not sold. It's dry and dirty and just sitting at my old apartment. So I guess technically I could just store it somewhere in my apartment or set it up in the living room, I guess. But I like having all my tanks in one spot so it's easy to film, and I enjoy having all of them next to each other. So we'll see what happens. If you guys really, really, really want me to keep it, like if I see like a crazy reason enough to keep it, then I will. But for the most part, we are planning on selling it. So if you guys are interested and you're in the Southern California area, I would be more than happy to sell it to you. Just hit me up on my Instagram. But that's the main reason of why it's not here. It's not because I didn't really love the tank that much, because I do, and I liked how it looked. It just didn't fit in the Reef Corner and the new apartment. So that's the main reason. Hopefully, we'll be able to sell it and recoup some money and be able to put it back into the tanks, because we do want fish for the 20 and 30 gallon, and we definitely need a cleanup cruise and some more coral. So I think putting money back into the channel that way will improve it more. But again, if you guys want it enough, I guess I'll keep it, but I don't know what we're gonna do with it. I promise we're gonna do some really cool things with these tanks. I really like the mangrove tank and the lagoon look, so I don't know. I hope that you guys are, here for it and here to see these tanks improve. I did not clean the tanks. They're dirty. They've been sitting like this for a few days now, so they'll definitely get dialed in, trust me. Just stay tuned for that. Give me, like a few weeks, and I promise these things will look crystal clear and pristine. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on what kind of fish you'd want to see in the 30 gallon, what kind of corals you want to see in these tanks, please let me know. I'm still open to kind of arranging these tanks in different ways too. They're really easy to move. The 30 gallon not so much, but the 20 and the 6 are really easy to move, so we can kind of figure out different things with that. There's also space underneath the tanks to maybe do some freshwater projects. I have thought about doing a 20 gallon long freshwater tank and maybe doing some breeding in it or doing live plants again. So if you guys have any suggestions for new nano or pico size tanks, then let me know as well. But we are back. I apologize for all this lack of content and just lagging on everything. It's a big project trying to move, and especially it being you and your little brother. So we're here though, and we're here to make content. And this is the new Reef Corner. So hope you guys enjoy. I will be sure to catch you guys on the next one. You can always DM me at my Instagram, links in the bio. But with all that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.